Hello children, so welcome to today's session. So before going to today's session, I'd like to clarify some questions. In the previous session I have given a worksheet, a homework to you. Some of the students written in a good manner and some students simply copied from other snapshots. Why to do like that? You think you are own and you can write now. How I know means it's very simple. If one student whatever they written, you just simply copy that. These two are logical questions I have given. The first question is some big number is there, it's a composite number, why we have to say. And second thing is Euclid's division lemma can be applicable for, I have given four options I hope, positive integers, real numbers and whole numbers I hope. So simply copy it. Only one or two students they are written in a proper manner. So now in this class, before going to the session, I would like to clarify this question. So this is a big number. How it's a composite number? How you can say it's a composite number? So it's very simple. So the last digit is 5. Last digit is 5. Means if any number ends with 0 is divisible by 5 and 10. Next, if any number ends with 5, no doubt it is divisible by 5. So the point is, given number is divisible by 5. Given number is divisible by 5. That means this big number can be written as product of one number and 5. This number is very big. If you want to know, we have to divide it. No need for that. Given number is divisible by 5, that means 5 is a factor. 5 is a prime number. And obviously, this may be also written as prime factors. So what is the statement? Fundamental theorem of arithmetic says every composite number can be written as product of its prime factors. So one is 5, second one may be written as maybe prime number or may be written as product of prime numbers. So basing on the fundamental theorem of arithmetic, it is a composite number. So we have to mention this point. Last digit is 5, so it is divisible by 5. That means this number 1, 3, 2 can be written as any number into 5. This any number may be prime number or can be written as prime factors. If it is a prime number, we think this is a prime number, this is a prime number. So basing on that, it's a composite number. So I repeat it. Very careful, simple. This can be 1 mark. We can get for 1 mark question. So why to lose that 1 mark? So remember, I'll repeat it. If the last digit is 0, it is divisible by 5 and 10. If the last digit is 5, no doubt it is divisible by 5. Then what a fundamental theorem of arithmetic says? Fundamental theorem of arithmetic says that every composite number can be written as product of prime numbers. So we have written as 5 into some number. So we have two options. This number may be prime or this number may be written as product of prime factors. If it is a prime number, 5 is also a prime number. So this number is written as product of primes. This is a composite number. A simple logic you have to trick play there, right? Next question. Euclid's division lemma is applicable for, so maximum of the students written as positive integers, but the correct answer is real numbers. It is applicable for any real number. So why it's applicable for real number is, we have to take a chart, real numbers, in this one rational and irrational. In rational numbers again we have integers. In integers we have whole numbers and in whole numbers we have natural numbers. All natural numbers are real numbers. All whole numbers are real numbers. All integers are real numbers. Rational numbers, everything it comes. So therefore the answer is Euclid's division lemma can be applicable for real numbers. Then next, some students asked the doubt how to write this. I think this in your textbook is given. Question number 3. Write the following rationals in decimal form using theorem 1.1. So 7218. So how to write this in the decimal form? So I can do using theorem number 1. So what is the theorem number 1 is? We have to write the denominator in the form of 2 power m into 5 power n. So now 3 square is there. So why I am explaining this question is, it's a very good question. Why the good question is, it's a confusing question. Why it is confusing question is, in the theorem 1, basing on these 3 theorems, what we have concluded? We have concluded that if the denominator is in the form of 2 power n, 5 power m, that is terminating decimal. If the denominator is not in the form of that, it is a non-terminating decimal. Suppose in your question he may ask, is this a terminating or non-terminating decimal? So what you will write is, the denominator is not in the form of 2 power n, 5 power m. Additionally 3 is there. So that's why it is a non-terminating decimal, you will write and come. But that is the wrong answer. Why it is the wrong answer is, look at this. 7218 by 9 into 25. Divide it. So 7218 divided by 9. Why I am 9 is 9 8s are 72, 0, 1 I will borrow it, right? Then next, it is not sufficient, I will keep 0, then I will take 8, 9 2s are 18. How much it is there? 802 by 25. It is 3 square only. Next, so what I have to do? I have to multiply with 4, divide with 4. Why I have to multiply with 4? Because to get multiples of 10. Next, so 802 into 4 how much? 802 into 4. 4 2s are 8, 4 zeros are 0, 4 8s are 32. 3208 by 100. 25 fourths. Now divided by 100 means I should shift the point between after two numbers. 32.08. It is a terminating decimal. But actually, if you see this, the denominator is not in the form of 2 power m into 5 power n, but it is terminating. So it is y. So that means from this what we have to learn is that don't confirm at this stage only. Don't confirm at this stage only. When you have to confirm is that this is the very important point. Co-prime. What are co-primes? When P and Q must be co-prime. That means P and Q must and should have only one as the common factor. Remaining nothing must be there. Then only this will apply. So ఇది ముందే ఎందుకు చెప్పాము అంటే the student has to get a doubt here. Hardly 2 or 3 students asked this doubt. Remaining all are they didn't ask any doubt. You have to get the doubt. That's why we'll skip this one. So actually What we have learned in the yesterday three theorems, some student written very excellently. If denominator is in the form of this, it is terminating. It is terminating, the denominator will be in the form of 2 power n into 5 power n. If the denominator is not in the form of 2 power n, 5 power n, it is non-terminating. Now this denominator is not in this form, then why it is terminating? Means that all the three formulas is applicable only when P by Q are co-primes. What do you mean by co-prime? Means the P and Q must and should have only one as a common factor. Remaining factors ఏది ఉండకూడదు. That is the logic we have to remember. Got it? So very important question. In examination point of view, if this type of question repeats, that means tell whether it is terminating or non-terminating. Means first you have to check the P by Q are co-prime or not. Then you have to check the denominator. If the denominator is in that form, then definitely it is a terminating decimal. If the denominator is not that form, it is non-terminating decimal. Okay. Next, question number 4, very important question. Read the question and just check it. The decimal form of some real numbers are given below. In each case, decide whether the number is rational or not. If it is rational and expressed in the form of P by Q, what can you say about the prime factors of Q? What can you say about the prime factors of Q? Right? So I'll explain all these three questions. We'll check the conclusion. What is the conclusion? 43 point, the first question is 43.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Now first, question number 1. Whether it is rational or irrational. That is the first question we have to check. So again we have to go for the rational and irrational number definition. Any number which can be written in the form of P by Q are called as rational numbers. Any numbers which cannot be written in the form of P by Q are called irrational numbers. Now this is a rational number. No doubt it's a rational number. Why? Because it is terminating and non-repeating. So how to write this in the P by Q form is very simple. After decimals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means 43.1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 into a number with 9 zeros. By a number with 9 zeros. If nothing is there, I'll take it as 1. You know what happens? 43.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into a number with 9 zeros. I'll get the answer as 43, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 by 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. P by Q. P is this number and Q is this number. Now it's a rational or not? Yes, it is a rational. Now the question is, what is the nature of prime factors of Q? So what is the nature of prime factors of Q? No? It's very simple. If the prime factors will be 2 or 5 or both. 2 or 5 or both. For example, if you take 10, 2 into 5, under 2 power 1, 5 power 1. 100. 100 I can write 4 into 25 means 2 square into 5 square. 1000. 1000 how to write? Very simple. 2 500s, 2 250s, 5 50s, next 5 10s, 5 2s, and then 1 2 3, 2 power 3 into 5 power 3. What will be the 10,000? Simply 2 power 4, 5 power 4, and so on. So therefore, in this case, what is the first conclusion we have to say? The first conclusion is no doubt it's a rational number. Since it's a rational number, we have to write P by Q form, and Q will have a factors 2 or 5 or both. That is the point. Okay. Next, I'll go for the second example. It's very simple. No need to get confused. What is the question he asked? He given some decimals. We have to check whether it is rational or irrational. If it is rational, we have to write in the form of P by Q. Q factors ఎలా ఉంటాయని అడిగాడు. So first మనం చెప్తున్నాం rational number అని. Then we are written in the form of P by Q. Then the nature of row factors. It may be 2, maybe అని చెప్తున్నాను. Actually 2 ఉండకపోతే డైరెక్ట్ గా ఉంటుంది. But nature of the factors we have to write because it's a terminating decimal. Next. I'll go for the next question. Question number 2. 0.120 1200 1200 12 and so on. The first question, first answer is it's an irrational number. So why? Why it's an irrational number? So it is non-repeating, non-terminating. 20 200 repeated. 200 240 and so on. And second thing is there is no end. So therefore we cannot write in the form of P by Q. No doubt it's an irrational number. So irrational number undi kabatti there is no form of P by Q. So we can't write Q. Therefore we can't say about the prime factors of Q. That is the point. Next, third question. That means what you have to write? It's an irrational number. So we cannot write in the form of P by Q. So we cannot say about the factors of Q. This is the statement. Next, question number 3. $43.123456789 bar. Now we have to tell whether it is rational or irrational, and we have to check the nature of the roots. So the first answer is it is a rational number. How? And how to write in the rational numbers? So for this sake we have to remember or recall how to write in the P by Q form. 3.2 bar is there, 3.222 and so on is given. So it can be written as 3.2 bar. How to write this in the form of P by Q? So what we have to take it as, we have to take it as x is equals to 3.222 and so on. Since one number is repeating, its periodicity is 10 or its periodicity is 1. We have to multiply with 10 on both sides. That means it will become 10 into x is equals to 3.222 and so on into 10. 10 into x is 10x, and if you multiply with this, how much I'll get? 32.222 and so on. So this will be the equation 1 and this will be the equation 2. Now 2 minus 1. How I should write? 10x is equals to 32.2222 and so on. X is equals to 3.2222 and so on. How much I'll get? On the right hand side it will become total is 0, and 32 minus 3 is 28.0, and 10x minus x is 9x. So x is equals to how much I should write? 28 by 9. So this is the value of writing P by Q. The same pattern we have to follow here. It's a very somewhat bigger one, but I will try to reveal it. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 numbers are bar means the same number is going to repeat. So therefore its periodicity is 9. So let x is equals to 43.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So since periodicity is 9, multiply with 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on both sides. So this is equation number 1. On both sides what happens? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into x is equals to 43.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 2, 3 and so on into 1, 2, 3, 1, 8, 9. What happens? 1 into x will be, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9x is equals to, what happens is that since we are multiplying with 9 zeros, the point will be shifted after 9. So what will get? 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and so on. This is equation 2. Next what I have to do? Equation 2 minus equation 1. So I am rubbing here. What is equation 2? This. How much I will get? 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 x is equals to 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on. This is equation 2. And what is equation x? X is equals to 43. So 43 means where units and tens, here I should take units and tens. Point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and so on. Now what I have to do is I have to subtract it. Now what happens, this I will get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If 3 zeros minus 1 means I will get 999. So here also I will get total 9 nines. 9 x is equals to, on the right hand side total will become 0 after decimal. 9 minus 3 6, 8 minus 4 4, remaining everything same. 4 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7.46. Now x is equals to what happens? This will go multiplying, if it goes that it will become division. 4 3 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 4 6 by 9 9 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is P and this is Q. Now can you guess what are the factors of Q? Can you guess? Simply we have to check a model example. What is a model example? Factor of 9, 3 threes. Factor of 99, 99. You may have 3 into 33. This can be written as 3 into 11. Factor of 999. This can be written as 3 triple 3. If it is written as 3, 3 triple 1. Next 9999. This can be written as 3 1 2 3 4. Then this can be written as 3 1 1 1 1. That means it may have 3. 2 and 5 we can't expect, because the last digit is 9, and if it is factorized into prime factors you are getting a prime numbers. So therefore what will be the nature of Q? Q means, here the nature of Q means Q will have factors other than 2 and 5. That means it will not have 2 and 5. That's all. So these are the 3 questions. The first question is rational numbers, second question is irrational number, and third question also irrational number. So the third question rational number. And what is the difference between the first one and third one is, in the first one the denominator is, the Q will be written in the form of factors of 2 or 5 or both. In this case it will have factors other than 2 and 5. That means 2 and 5 will not be there. It may have 3, it may have 1 1 1 etc. And this in some cases it may be also extended into prime factors. So that's all. That is about that question. So hope you understand. Think logically. This is not an a plus b whole square formula sum. It solely depends on the mind setup of the student. You must know what are rational, what are irrational very clearly. Okay. Next I'll tell one theorem and I'll conclude this session. So we are in the middle of the session. Actually, one thing I want to share. Do you know at what time I am recording this class? Actually, at morning I went outside. I was very busy in other work. So because of the student's sake, because of my students, because of the Krushi student's sake, I am recording this video at 12:40, night 12:40, not in the daytime. If you want to see, you can see the clock which was in my room. Yes. So for my students, I am taking this much of care. It's Friday night actually, because Saturday morning itself I had to post this video. So if I ignore this, tomorrow I can't make a video and I can't upload in time. That's why I'm doing it this time. Okay. సో మీ గురించి మేము పడుతున్న కష్టాన్ని మీరు గమనిస్తే సంతోషం. రైట్, నెక్స్ట్ the today last session 1.6, theorem number 1.6, very important theorem and very simple theorem. So what it says, just I'll write the statement. Let P be a prime number. Let P be a prime number if P divides a square, then P divides a. If P divides a square, then P divides a. Very simple theorem, but it has a lot of logic. How to understand this? So it's very simple. P must be any prime number. So what are the prime numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 and so on. First total prime numbers which make idea on that. Now if P divides a square, then obviously P divides a. For example, look at C. I'll take 25. 25 can be written as 5 into 5. Okay? 25 can be written as 5 into 5. In this case, what is A? What is A square? That means A into A. This is A square. So here what is A square? A square is equals to 25. A is equals to 5. A square is equals to 25 and A is equals to. Now P is a prime number. Now I'll take this prime number 5. 5 is dividing A square. 5 is dividing A. Yes or no? 5 is dividing A square. Then 5 divides A. Here what is the A? 5. I'll take one more example. I'll take 49. 49 can be written as how much? 7 7s are 49. Here what is A square? 49. What is A? 7. I am writing this. A square is equals to 49. A is equals to 7. Now what is the statement says? If P divides A square, so in this case which prime number I have to take? 7 I am taking. So 7 is dividing the 49. The same 7 will divide the 7 also. Okay. Next, for our convenience purpose, I will take. So this is a simple example. Now I will take some another number. I'm taking another number 100. So how 100 can be written as? Can you guess? Yes, it is 10 square. So 10 square means here it is 100 is a square. 10 square means 10 into 10. So a into a. Now what is a square here? A square is 100. A is 10. Okay. Now first I'll take this p. 100 dividing by 2. 100 also 2 also divides 10. P divides a square, then P divides a. Similarly, I can take next prime number 5. Same, 100 divides 5, 10 divisible by 5. Yes or no? How many times? 5 ones, 5 20s, 5 1, 5 2s, 2 ones, 2 5s, 2 50s. You can't take 3, you can't take 7. Why? 100 is not divided by 3. You can't take that. You have to take the number which divides it. Then you have to check it. So what the concept in this case? If a square is divided by p, no doubt a will be divided by p. No doubt. Got it? I'll tell one more example also. You can take any number. Now I'll take square root of 144. What is square root of 144? 144. Yes, can be written as 12 12s are 144. Now what is a square here? 144. A into a. Now I let a square is equals to 144 and a is equals to 12. Right? Now in this one, which prime number I should take? I am taking first 2. So 144 divided by 2, 12 divides 2. That means if a number divides p square, no doubt it will divide the p also. Is it possible or not? Yes, it is possible. How many times? 72s, 6. Next I'll take 3. Let us check. 144 by 3. I had to write 12 by 3. 12 ekkadi? What is 12? 12 is a. Is this possible or not? You look at this. 3 4s are 12. What is the remainder? 2. 3 8s are 24. 3 1s are 3, 3 4s are 12. That is the law. That is the theorem here. Now you can take 3, 2, 3. Now you can check with 7. 144 divided with 7. 12 divided by 7. This will not divide 144. 7 2s are 14. What is the remainder? 2. 24 will not come. So it will also not divide. So that means a square and a. Be clear about this. If any prime number divides the square of the number, no doubt it will divide its individual number. That means 44 can be written as 12 into 12. For your convenience purpose, I'll explain one more example. $625. I'll take 625. 625 can be written as 25 into 25. So what is a square here? A square is 25. A into a. So that is a square is equals to 625. A is equals to 25. Now which number I have to take? I have to start from 2 is not possible because it's an even number. 3, 625 is not divisible by 3. So now I need to check for the 5. Now I can take 5. 625 by 5. Yes or no? Divisible or not? Yes. 5 ones, 5 twos, 5 fives. Now the same 5 will divide 25. 5 fives. So this is the statement of theorem 1.6. What the theorem says is that if P is a prime number that divides A square, then no doubt it will divide A also. Now I'll give today's assignment, only one. Page number 14. Page number 14. Do this. This is your assignment. Then here how many questions are given? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 questions are given. I'll tell any 3 questions. Remaining you have to do. So P is equals to 2, P is equals to 5. Then given first A square is equals to 1, A square is equals to, next what is given? 4, A square is equals to 9, and A square is equals to, I'll take 64. ఈ 4 examples నేను చెప్తాను, మిగిలిన మీరు చేయండి. The first one, what is this? A square is equals to 1. That means 1 into 1. 1 square can be written as 1 into 1. What is A square? 1. A is equals to 1. Now first P is equals to 2 I am taking. What is this theorem says? If P divides A square, then P divides A. What is A square? 1 by 2. How much? 0.5. Yes, it is dividing. 1 by, again P is A is 1. So that means A square by P I am taking, A by P. It means 1 by 2. This is also 0.5. Next, second one, P is equals to 5. So A square by P, how much? 1 by 5, 0.2. A by P, how much? 1 by 5, 0.2. So don't expect same answers. In this case we got the same answer because it is 1 only. Next condition, what is this? A square is equals to 4. So I have to write the same point here. What I have to write? A square is equals to 4. That means I can write 2 into 2. 4 can be written as 2 into 2. So what I understand? A square is equals to 4. A is equals to 2. What is the first point? P square by A. What is, A square by P. A square by P. What is A square? 4 by 2, 2. What is the next point? A by P. How much? 2 by 2, 1. As it is dividing. Next case I am taking P is equals to 5. What is the next case? A square by P. How much? 4 by 5 is equals to how much? 0.8. A by P. What is A? 2. 2 by 5. How much? 0.5. We have to check whether it is dividing or not. We have to check that. Next, third question. Here what? A square is equals to 9. 9 can be written as 3 into 3. And obviously what is the first step? So here A square is equals to 9. A is equals to 3. And first step, A square by P. I am taking first P as 2. So it is 9 by 2. How much? 4.5. Now A by P. What is A by P? 3 by 2. How much it was? 1.5. It is dividing or not, we have to check. What is the next one? A square by P. Next, this time I am taking A as P as 5. So I'll get 9 by 5. How much 9 by 5? 9 divided by 5. 5 ones are 5, remainder 4. Keep 0. 5 8s are 40. How much? 1.8. Next, A by P. What is A? 3. 3 by 5. How much it was? 0.6. So this is the theorem. So what the theorem says, if P divides A square, P divides A. A square and A are both are the same then here. That means A double, it's a square of the number. Okay? So I did some examples. This is your homework. Remaining you have to write in your notes. Daily maintain one notes, which will be helpful in the after whenever you are going to practice the regular sessions. So this is your homework today. Do this. How many sums you have to do? Total 8 sums are there. Already I told the 3 points. Remaining you have to do. The theorem and the remaining questions also you have to copy in your notes. Don't send all the photographs, no need to send. Only send this theorem and this do these questions. Remaining you have to write in the notes. Okay, that's all. This is for today's session, and tomorrow in the next session I'll meet with the next concept, very important for examination point of view. One 4-mark question you will get. That's purely based on this theorem. If you understand this theorem, then almost all 10 questions you will understand. If you don't understand this theorem, you never understand the 10 sums until you are 10th class finished. నేను చాలా మందిని చూసాను, 10th ఇప్పుడే అర్థం చేసుకుంటే ఇప్పుడే అర్థం చేసుకుంటాను. ఇప్పుడు కాకుండా మీకు అర్థం కాదంటే 10th క్లాస్ ఎగ్జామ్ ముందు రోజు కూడా మీరు తలపట్టుకుంటారు. కాబట్టి try to find the logic in this case. This logic purely depends to or depending on the next theorems or next questions will purely depends on this thing. Okay, so that's all. I will meet in the next session. Bye.